Today's presentation is called Everyone Walks, Runs, and Drives for Dollars. Ultimately, the bottom line is speed kills. It kills on the field when the Georgia Bulldogs take the field, and it kills in business, right? And for me, as a graduate of the UGA, I got to throw that in there, right? The faster you can get your marketing into a prospective seller's hands, and the easier way in which you can do it, the more success you're going to have, period. Unless you're not doing business in the city that you live in, you need a way to be able to drive by a distressed home and within 3 to 4 clicks on your iPhone, you've generated mail to that address. Okay, I'm not talking you got back to your office and you transposed a list and then you handwrote some letters and then blah blah, cut the crap, cut the effort, cut the time, click a button on your phone. The cost of mail is very affordable. And that's what today is all about. Today is all about the practical way of how we've built a playbook of walking, running, and driving for dollars such that we can be as efficient as possible as a team. And so you're going to hear the words everyone, hence, this is really a team mentality. So I know a lot of you guys are solopreneurs, and that's fine. This still is going to apply to you. But this is also going to be relevant to those of you who do have a team and function at maybe a little bit more of a complex level, a little bit more of a higher level. What do you do when business looks bad? I mean, ultimately, you got into this business just like real estate agents do as a real estate investor, a solopreneur, and a independent contractor. And if it's to be, it's up to you. And so that's what today's presentation is all about. How can we get after it in an organized and systematic way? This is the plan that we came up with, right? This is that stopgap plan. And the interesting thing about it is it really works well in conjunction with DealMachine. So we created a playbook as a business plan. I like to kind of do things a little bit more structured because I feel like it gives me better success. So I'm going to walk you through our playbook, and we're going to jump in and out of Canva into some spreadsheets that I have. And I'm going to walk you through the ins and outs of our playbook. So first of all, we're going to talk about why this matters. Why does driving for dollars matter? Well, let's take a look at my playbook. I'm going to pull it up and we're going to zoom in and we're going to figure this out. So anytime I'm enrolling my team into doing something, you got to explain the why behind why we're doing it, right? That's, as a leader, that's our responsibility, right? So maybe I'm speaking to you, or maybe I'm preparing you to speak to your team. Either way, why does driving for dollars matter? When you walk, run, or drive for dollars, you're creating a proprietary niche list that's unique to you. No one else in the world can or will ever have access to it. Therefore, these overtly distressed homes are the most effective target for direct mail in existence in our entire industry, said by a wise sage named Paul Myers. That's myself. I made that quote up and I told it to my team. They didn't really laugh though, so it's okay that y'all didn't laugh. So this playbook, it's not about sales. It's really about being intentional in what you do, right? It's about intentionality and focusing on the best homes we can market to. Now, I don't know about you, but I happen to live in a market in Augusta, Georgia, on the border of Georgia and South Carolina, where Hurricane Helene came in. And you know what? It was 11 months ago. It was September 26th, 2024, when that Hurricane Helene came in, and it just rocked all of our beautiful Georgia pine trees and brought a bunch of them down, right? So identifying distressed homes for us, maybe not for you, has never been easier. We can see trees on houses still to this day. We can see tarps on roofs. You can probably see tarps on roofs, even if even if your city didn't get hit by a hurricane. So that's what we're here to capitalize on. Now, in addition, again, this is kind of what I got to earlier. When do you take action? If your revenue projection is zero, you got to do something. You can't sit by idly and do nothing, right? And we've had an experience. We know DealMachine. We've been with DealMachine a long time. We know that we get a 6.0x ROAS. That stands for return on advertising spend anytime we spend money with DealMachine. So like if we If we spend 10 grand with Deal Machine on mail, we're spending that marketing to a specific list. We know we're going to get 60 grand out of the bubblegum machine. It's just going to happen, right? That's ultimately what we've experienced over years and years. So that's the why behind why we do driving for dollars. Now, finally, our intent, and we've tried working with external drivers, but ultimately we've just been unsuccessful. Like we've found that it's been very difficult to hire drivers and to keep them consistent in driving for us. So again, for us specifically, a why was, hey, it's time to take matters into our own hands, and reach out to help the owners of distressed homes overcome the procrastination and get rid of their headache properties, right? All right, so now we got to describe or define the rhythm for our team. So I'll talk to you about what we did, right? So first of all, we set up a weekly non-negotiable, and we set the bar real low. So we just did 1 to 5 hours walking, running, or driving for dollars, and making the list and adding the list to Deal Machine in real time. Okay, so this is super specific. Now, in reality, we don't inspect this of our team. I don't care if they spend 1 hour or 5 minutes. The goal is ultimately 15 homes at a minimum added to Deal Machine per week. Okay, and that's very easy to do in 1 hour's time. Easy to do. Ryan's shaking his head because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. All you need to do is time block 60 minutes a week, and you can do that. That's like super easy. Okay, so now where does the rubber meet the road in regards to accountability? We have a walking, running, driving for dollars scorecard. So here's our scorecard, a link to it down in our quarterly rocks right here. Everyone drives for dollars tracking campaign. So we pull this up on Monday mornings in our weekly L10 meeting. That's just our traction meeting, right? And this goes on the scoreboard. Or this is the scoreboard, right? Did you add 15 homes or did you not? And you can see we track it by week here on the left side. Let me zoom this in for you guys. If you're blind like me, it might help you a little bit. Okay. So we've got the week here. We've got how many homes did you add? And then how many homes have you added overall? And I don't care if you have 3 weeks where you do 0. I don't care if you do 98 and then you don't do any for 2 weeks. As long as you're hitting your stride of 15 per week, that's what we really care about. So that's the weekly rhythm and structure. You got to get out 1 hour a week. And I don't care if you see, for me, I like to run. I run about 3 miles 2 times a week, not a lot. So I like to do it when I'm running. And I have run over a dozen subdivisions since May in the last 3 months. And for me, it's just kind of a fun thing. So Wednesday mornings at sunrise, I just drive to a subdivision. I've already kind of got it planned out on Monday morning. And then Wednesday morning, I drive to a subdivision and I just run that subdivision, right? All right, then we define what counts as a home added to Deal Machine, okay? So we talked to our top 15 cash buyers just to kind of grease the wheels. Like we went to them and we were like, hey man, if you could, the way we put it was, if you could only do one more flip before you died, we put a morbid tone on it. We're like, where would you do that flip? And they said, this subdivision, this subdivision, this subdivision. So we got a bunch of subdivisions from our top 15 buyers. And then we fairly distributed those from our team across our 4 to 5 team members that were on that spreadsheet. And just so that we could be as efficient as possible, right? If we're going to do walking, running, driving for dollars, why not start in the most valuable subdivisions for our cash buyers, right? If we're going to wholesale some to them. And then in the Deal Machine app, you click map, drive for leads, free drive. And that way we make sure no one is driving any of the areas that someone else has already driven. And that works for the most part. Deal Machine's pretty good about that. There's some glitches occasionally, but it's not too bad. If you have a virtual team member, you could also have them click virtual drive. And then here's the trick. You have to physically see the home. Okay, so we got people that want to cut it short, do the shortcuts, and that's fine. But we set this as the bare minimum. You have to actually see the home, or someone that's a friend of yours has to have seen the distress. So you're literally visually observing distress. Now, acquisitions can do this on their way to or from a sales appointment. Dispo managers could potentially do it when they're on to or from a walkthrough. So it's ideally done in a convenient way. And then again, click start mail, add your driving for dollars tag so you get credit for it. You can leave the office early if you need. We actually already had money on DealMachine, so we just rolled with that. And then my team basically didn't have to do any stamps or envelopes or handwritten letters. DealMachine has a custom mail sequence for you, and it does all the heavy lifting. And we use the ballpoint letter 1 and 2 templates. So if you want to write that down, I don't think I have that in here. I might, we'll see. But basically, yeah, that's the template that we use, because we figured if it's a niche list and it's known distress on the property, I'd rather spend, instead of spending 50 cents on a postcard, I'd rather spend $1.50 on an envelope with a handwritten letter inside it. And my board of advisors was like, yeah, we think you should do that too. So anyway, so every week we inspect what we expect, which is we pull up that driving for dollars spreadsheet and we look at, hey, how many, and we go into DealMachine and we see how many homes everybody's added. And then all after that, it pretty much just boils down to having a reward. So we have a $250 bonus because we know DealMachine will help us track every home added back to the person that added the home. We basically said, hey, let's make this fun. Like, let's put some money behind this. Let's put our money where our mouth is. And we do a $250 bonus to whoever started mail on a home we end up buying. So that's the bonus that we went with. So that's kind of gives you our whole program from start to finish. And I think the money bonus is important just because, honestly, it just makes it a little more exciting and it engages the team at another level. So here's my mail sequence that I thought would be helpful for you guys. And we can find a way. I don't know how to, Ryan can maybe get you my presentation. I don't know how we'll do that. Leonora can get you a PDF version of it out of Canva, but this is my mail sequence if you guys want to write this down, or we can find a way to get you this PDF, Canva as a PDF. But it's a handwritten letter, like I mentioned, ballpoint letter 1 and 2, and then we did a custom one for the third letter. Or you could just go back to 1 if you don't want to do a custom letter. So you could do ballpoint letter 1, ballpoint letter 2, and then back to ballpoint letter number 1. So we do 3 letters, and we do a letter on day 1 of adding the home, day 91, and day 181. And then, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click there. And then the sequence ends. That's it. So you got 3 letters. So every time you add a home, if you're doing the math, $1.50 a letter, that's $4.50 that you're committing to that particular property. And then the templates are already in DealMachine. It's the ballpoint letter template 1 and 2. There are no other templates. There are no other ballpoint options. It's just ballpoint letter. So you should be able to find that very easily. And Ryan is the customer success expert. He can help you build out this sequence, but you don't even need his help. You can probably do it on your own. But that's the time, that's the type of letter, and it's the handwritten letter with the ballpoint letters has the robots in the warehouse that handwrite the letters. And then the sequence ends. So you're hitting them once, twice, 3 times total, and you're doing it over a span of 180 days. So for any of you that are thinking you're going to be able to judge the efficacy of this campaign over a 90-day period or a 6-month period, you're probably, you really are not. Like, it's going to take a year to really know your true return on advertising spend. But I'd say a year would give you a full sample size, a healthy enough sample size to be able to really know whether it was worth it or not. But I can tell you it's going to be worth it. Like, it just makes sense. We've always ranged between a 4.0 to a 6.0 return on advertising spend. So again, if you invest 10 grand, you should be getting 40 to 60 grand back. If you're getting under a 2.0 ROAS, you're in trouble. You'll be out of business soon. But as long as you're getting a 3.0, that's really a pretty good break even.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.